presence of God. I'm settling to be a girlfriend when I'm called to be a wife. But my flesh was so weak. We almost ended up having sex. God kept cutting me off. He said, surrender to me. Surrender to me. Choose me. Choose me. Choose me. Choose me. I'm like,
God, where's the justice?
So now we're going into 2024 where I'm just trying to do things differently, but I'm still dissociated. I'm still kind of in shock. I was just thinking about, just within this new year, like I want to make some changes. I don't want to date. I'm going to try to stop having sex. I'm going to try to stop doing a lot of things, but I still didn't surrender to God just yet. So all I knew when the new year came is to work hard and stay sexy. That's all I could do. It wasn't really no time for happiness. So I was working 3 jobs. When I say New Year's Day, I was working 3 jobs on New Year's Day. I went back to the old lounge. I picked up a shift. So I did that. What else did I do? Yeah, I worked at the lounge. I worked at the strip club, and then I worked at after hour spot. So I was like hustling. Okay, so I was working at the after hour spot, right? And it was a little it was just too much going on as far as dealing with the customers. Like it was just be a lot. Dealing with people in after hours, I feel like it was different from dealing with people in the club, because like now they're already drunk from the club, but doing different types of drugs in these places. So by the time, it's 4 a.m., imagine what type of things you would see. So there was somebody that I knew that came this one particular night, right? He was going around dapping everybody up like how he usually do. But he had came around to me and he had put his hand on my shoulder. Y'all, I felt like my energy was leaving, but what I was seeing in the spirit was a leech. And so I tried to pull him off, y'all. He would not let go. Maybe like a few moments later, but I'm just like, that was different. So I'm like, I don't know what that was. A few times in there where I've seen like when men were talking to me at this place, like faces turning into snakes. Like it was just weird. Y'all know how I said I was trying to stay away from lust though, right?
And before I get back to the storyline, I would just like to say that this is a judgment-free zone. So I'm simply going to share the last of my testimony. And some of the things that I'm going to say is probably going to sound strange. But hey, I was in sin and Jesus led me out of sin. And that's what my testimony is about. So honestly, this is a love story. This is about how Jesus set me free. And he has given me a life of true revival and redemption. Hey, so one thing about it, I ain't going to have no problem telling you about what Jesus Christ did for me, because he can do the same thing for you. But don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you are inspired by this video. All right, back to it.
But it was really hard when you're working in the club and you're drinking. As much as I wanted to stay away from lust and from dealing with guys, like it was very hard because I was struggling also with my, like the way that I view myself. Like I felt validated when men would compliment me, when men would, give me that club talk. So I would fall into that a lot and it wasn't a good look. But I had ended up falling into temptation this one particular night with somebody that I had met. I forgot to say I did go on a date on New Year's, and y'all, I was not keeping my word. But I had went on a date. So this guy that I went on a date with on New Year's, we ended up sometime during January having a sexual encounter. But y'all, he had touched me in that same place, like that man that I was telling y'all that I was walking around the after hour spot and I saw a leech. I felt that same type of energy as we had that encounter with one another, and I threw up. So I'm just like, dang. And I didn't really know what that meant. I didn't know what the throw up meant, and I didn't know why I was feeling that, because this time I didn't see that same image. It didn't come with the image. But it definitely came with a feeling of like something is leaving my body. Anywho, so to move on though, my auntie had passed away around this time. So I had to go back to Virginia. So I took the bus home because around this time I still was trying to get my money together. So the bus was going to be the best route. So I take the bus and Y'all, I was getting so scared. I was getting so scared because my body started to become sensitive to where nobody even had to touch me. Like, I'm feeling everybody's different energies heavily. And so I'm like, yo, what is going on? I didn't even think to ask God. I was just like, I don't know what's going on. So when I get to Virginia, I'm telling my mom, like, what I was seeing in the club and stuff like that. She was just like, oh, well, you might be clairvoyant. And I'm like, what's that? You know, so I'm looking it up. And I wasn't really sure about it because it was more things that was happening to where this may not be it. And also it started getting dark as I kept looking deeper into it. So keep that with you guys. But to move on though, in Virginia, like I said, talked to my mom. Now I'm getting ready for a memorial concert for my auntie because my auntie, she was a musician and she was a singer. She used to have us in a choir, and we also had this band when I was little. And so we all had got together and we had put a concert on. So we had a rehearsal. The rehearsal was cool. And after I came back from the rehearsal, I'm smoking. Like I was smoking and I was making different things. And this is the story that I was telling y'all about where God had called out to me and I heard him audibly. Y'all, I was so shook. So I'm gonna tell y'all the actual story now that we hear in the testimony. So after I finished smoking and after I finished cooking, I cleaned up. So as I was cleaning up, I'm hearing like some feedback. And so I'm just like, I don't know what's going on. Maybe I'm tripping. But like my mind, like y'all know, like when y'all be like high, like your mind just don't be thinking about nothing. Like my mind was not thinking about nothing. There was nobody awake in the house when I was hearing this. So I'm like, maybe I'm just hearing something. And so next thing you know, I'm hearing like light little voices, but I'm like, everybody is asleep. So I'm getting scared. Not sure. Not everybody has smoked, but for the people that have smoked, y'all know what I'm talking about that type of paranoia. So I went to go get my little sister from the room, and she was like, "Sissy, like I'm about to go to sleep. Like I'm tired." And I'm just like, "Please, just come to the kitchen with me real quick, and just sit at the table. I'm scared. I don't know what's going on." And she was like, "You tripping?" So I go back inside the kitchen, right? Y'all, I'm wiping this counter like for a good minute, same spot, stuck. And so what I heard was,
Wake up.
and so I'm all confused. I'm looking at my little sister. My sister, she falls asleep as I heard the voice say it. So I'm like, you talking to me or are you talking to her? And so after that, I didn't hear nothing, but I woke her up immediately to let her know what happened. And she was just like, you just need to go to bed. So now we're going to move on to the memorial concert. So memorial concert was really good. I had a solo. So I do sing, by the way. So maybe I'll sing for y'all one of these days. So I had a solo. And when I tell y'all, I felt my body doing things that's never done, especially singing publicly. I was moving across the stage, not at my own strength. So his presence was in me. And he was pushing me. Like he really was pushing me out of my limits. And so I was really so empty around that time though, that what I'm noticing that God was filling me up. So, but the funeral was fine. Like I didn't feel like worried that my auntie wasn't okay. And after the funeral, I went to my aunt's house. I was talking to one of my uncles and I was telling him what was going on, what voice I heard the other night and what the voice said. And I was telling him, I think that it was God, and he was in agreement. He said, stay on the lookout for that voice and see what else that it has to say. But I promise you, like, y'all, it was so undeniable. So I went back home to my mom's house. And y'all, God gave me the rest of the message. And that's when I was talking about the other part where he said, the truth will set you free. And he told me to tell whoever I come around and whoever is connected to me to let them know that they need to wake up and that the truth will set you free. So that's the full story on that. But God wasn't finished, right? This man, God said, whatever that you are trying to look up online to see what is going on with you, that's not what's going on with you. You are not clairvoyant. What's going on with you, that's coming from me. Well, I have my gifts and the devil has his, but his power against my power is powerless. And so I'm just like, okay, like, that, okay, I hear what you're saying. But then he clocked my T and he said, them zodiac signs, he said, you're not a Taurus, you are mine. And so I say that all to say, y'all, come out of agreement with them zodiac signs and that astrology, because that's going to lead you astray. Let's not get lost. Let's not get lost. Like I told y'all, this world is really ran by the devil. So the devil is trying to do anything, using any tactic to keep you detached from God. So you think that you are God, but you are not God. And God is a jealous God. And there's a whole bunch of scripture about God not playing, about witchcraft, astrology, and sorcery and stuff like that. But I'm about to move on. So when God told me all that, I told my mom what God said, and she was saying, that's in the Bible. The truth will set you free. Wake up, the truth will set you free. She said, that's in the Bible. And so I'm like, okay, so God is really talking to me. That's all I needed to know. God was really talking to me. So now I'm about to go back to Atlanta. So I'm on my way back home, but now I'm starting to look up the spiritual gifts that come from God. And so a lot of us have spiritual gifts that we don't even know, or we misuse them for the devil's opportunities. Remember in the last video, I said that we either operate by the Spirit of God or we operate by sin, which is death. So now I'm getting back in Atlanta. I'm coming back to work and still haven't surrendered to God yet. But, me and God, we're starting a friendship now. Like, I'm trying to see what he's talking about. So we at work with it. And y'all, God was showing me where I was actually at spiritually. So he was showing me all the different exchanges. He was saying, this is another place that you can call a sanctuary. And so I'm intrigued. I'm like, what you mean? So he was showing me the parallel between the sanctuary in the church and the sanctuary that's in the club. Both places give money. In both places, you're offering up your soul, but where you offering up your soul to? So that's what he was sharing with me. It's like, if y'all really think about it, though, y'all think about it. And the strip club is a lot darker. So just imagine in your mind what is really going on in the club. Is really a perverse way of and dark way of worship. We're coming to this place to have a good time. In exchange, as we're taking shots back, we're losing ourselves. Now we're embodying something else, and that's something that I've been learning as I'm going on this journey. So I'm not coming for anybody. I'm just trying to break it down for where I'm at now, as I'm realizing what is really going on. So, but I want y'all to really think about that when y'all go to the club next time. Try to go to the club sober and see if God show you what I'm talking about. Moving on. So now we in February. And I'm down to one job because the after hour spot didn't work out. And I didn't want to be, like I told y'all, I didn't want to be at that lounge anymore. I just had picked up a shift on that New Year's Day. I'm at the strip club pretty often, but I'm only doing hookah. And then I may do extra stuff around the building just to help out, because I was trying to keep myself busy so I won't be, outside going on unnecessary dates. Okay, so to move on from there, though, every morning, right? This would be my morning routine. Every morning, I would wake up and smoke because I kept feeling so much pressure on my chest. So I was thinking I was feeling anxious, But this one particular morning, when I was about to roll up and smoke, and because I told you I was feeling that pressure on my chest, and God said, "That's me. That feeling that you're feeling in your chest, that's me. I just want to spend time with you." And so me and God spent time together, and he was just showing me, different things about myself. So even though I didn't surrender to God at that point, he still wanted to make his presence known. He wanted me to know that he was there. Because after you call on God and he knows that you really want him there, when he actually reveals himself to you, but you have to be vulnerable. I was at that vulnerable moment that we talked about with the toxic relationship ending. So I say all that to say is, God is persistent. Just like how y'all looking for that significant other that's consistent with you, God is that. Establish a relationship with God first before you even go looking for another relationship. Or even if you're in a relationship right now, I think it would be really good if y'all invite God into your relationship. But I'm gonna keep going. I believe that it was Lent season. So yeah, it was Lent season. And so I was telling God, you know, I finally want to do Lent and do it right, because I would always try to do fasting for Lent. And what I would try to fast would be, I'm going to fast from sex. And I will always fail. And did I succeed? We shall see. Okay, so I stopped having sex, right? And I would say about in the middle of February, I was wondering if, you know, God was still around, because he was a little quiet. And so I was telling my mom what I was feeling, and she was like, you need to read the Bible. But I was just like, I don't need to read the Bible. Like, I started to get a little bit arrogant. I said, I don't need to read the Bible, because when like I would spend time with God, it was like I was seeing an ancient Bible, and it was like in script. And that's what the Bible I was going by. But she said, do you know where he was coming from in scripture? I was like, no. She said, okay, we need to read the Bible. Do your work and do it with a humble heart, and come to God with a humble heart. Because I was still in a way of like, you know, dealing with vanity and dealing with pride and greed at this time. So, you know, God had to humble me. But I was going after that feeling so bad, y'all, that I was like, you know what? I know what will do it. I'm going to have some shrooms. All right, so I just wanted to make a quick PSA to let you guys know that I do not recommend this at all. You do not need any drug. You don't need any substance that's going to have you deviate from a sound and sober mind just to communicate with God. You don't even need that. You don't need substances to help you to communicate with the living God. And so if you feel like you need it, that means that you lack faith. And that's why this video is here, because I wanted to show you a weakness of mine of where I lacked faith. And God is always speaking. However, we're too blinded to see that. And for some reason, we think that we know everything, but we don't. Look, I'm about to have to make a video about this. All right, but let's get back to the video. Oh, after work, me and my DJ friend, we had ended up going to take shrooms after work. And like, I mean, we were strictly platonic, but I was just like, yeah, I want to have a shroom trip, because like, I need to spend some time with God. And I was just desperate. All right, y'all. So the shroom trip, it starts, and it starts like mad late, y'all. It's like 5 a.m. that the shroom trip is starting, but I'm falling asleep having this shroom trip. So I was like, my body was asleep, but my spirit man was up. So it was like that, and God was showing me things like quickly. It was crazy. And guess who else was in the spiritual realm, since I entered the spiritual realm illegally by having them shrooms? The devil. I had my time with God and I had my time with the devil. But one of the things that God was showing me, he was showing me many things that was negatively impacting me. And one of those places was my job. And so he was saying that I need to leave there. It's like, I'm not hearing it audibly, but I'm feeling like my spirit is in the spiritual realm. So I'm having access to what he's talking about. The devil was talking to me too, and he was trying to get me to have sex with my friend. And thankfully, God stood up for me. God gave me mercy in that moment, because normally when you allow yourself to be in sin gives demons legal right to mess with you. But God stood up for me, because honestly, I was earnestly seeking God, and that's why I had did the trip. That was the grace that he gave me there. But he stood up for me, and the devil had fled. And so after that, I woke up, and my friend, he had a cat, and the cat was actually picking up what was going on. So the cat was like circling around me. And when I opened up my eyes, cat's fur had like stung my eyes. Like it was so bright. Like that's how it was when I was coming out of that spiritual experience between God and the devil. It was like the devil was talking to me like a snake. Like how it says in the Bible at the beginning, the ancient serpent. That's what it was like. That's the best way that I can explain exactly what I saw. It was just disgusting. Okay, so now we at the end of February, and when I tell y'all that February was dragging so bad, y'all. It was dragging so bad, but it was a leap year. So I'll give February that. But I was working a lot and I was getting super exhausted, but I try to keep myself as busy as possible because remember I told you I was trying to stay out of these streets. And so I was working or I was doing something creative, writing a song or something. But yeah, these last few days in February, I had a friend from college come to town. And me and this friend have a romantic history. So I was like, I'm going to see him. But I didn't really think of anything because like we have like a really good friendship. So I'm excited to see him, but I'm not tripping. But y'all, when I see him, I was so exhausted. So he was just like, do you want to just come to my hotel? I have 2 beds. I'll stay in one and you just stay in the other. And so I was just like, okay, bed. So waking up, I woke up out of my sleep though. And I was like, dang, like I want to cuddle with him. And so I asked him, I was like, can we cuddle? And he was like, yeah, of course. And so when he cuddled me, like, y'all, I didn't even try to do no scooching back or nothing like that. The cuddle was very spiritual. The cuddle was very spiritual. And that was the first time that I had a revelation of understanding what I wanted to feel. This right here felt like safety and comfort. And so safety and comfort is actually what I wanted, not sex. After I left him, y'all, I cried so bad, uncontrollably. And I was trying to figure out what was going on. Like, I called my mom and my mom was telling me that I need to pray. And so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna pray because prayer do work. So I prayed about it, but then me and him, we met up again, right? And this is right before he had left to go back to where he lives out of state. And so me and college friend, we catching up at the diner before I was gonna take him to the airport. So we catching up, updating each other about life and everything. And y'all, I take him to the airport. I'm falling asleep. So I have him drive my car. I'm falling asleep. But when we get to the airport, though, and we get out the car, y'all, we say our goodbyes. And I feel the presence of God. So I'm like, okay. But, so I said goodbye. And I get back in the car, y'all. And when I got in the car, my car randomly turned on this song by NDRE called Ready for Love. And the presence of God came on me even stronger. So I'm just like bawling, y'all. I'm bawling so hard, uncontrollably. And like the lyrics of the song, like it was just confirming so much for me. What God was saying to me at that moment though, was that I'm ready for you to love me. I'm about to show you how to love me. I'm about to show you how you need to be loved. After you done went through all those situations to where you weren't loving yourself, now it's time for love to present itself. So get ready. So he was telling me, I've been settling to be a girlfriend, but I'm called to be a wife. And I was like, God, like I don't know about that. I don't know about that because like, that sounds serious. Being a wife sounds serious to me. And, I feel like us as women, that we fantasize it, but like being a wife is a serious thing. Being married, that's very serious. And I wanted commitment, but it's just like the way that God was putting on me like that. I was like, ooh, child, I'm not sure. Like what he was saying to me, I was sure about, but like be a wife today, tomorrow, like, whoo, too much. So that's what I got from that. And so I started taking myself a little bit more seriously because God was like, girl, what you doing? Okay, so moving on, I started focusing on how I'm gonna be a wife by I don't know when. Like I was thinking like this was gonna be like a quick thing. And with God, like the things with God is funny. Like God is so funny because what he be telling you about in that moment, he's not talking about right now. He has to get people prepared for certain things. So like, but in my mind, I was thinking about, right then and there. So I started reading my Bible consistently after this. Like it just, I'm funny. Okay, so now we're in March and Lent season is still going on. It's feeling really good. I was still working in the strip club. I was still smoking and drinking at this time. I still didn't surrender to God just yet. I was still struggling with those things, and God was still working with me. Like, he was persistent, and I love how persistent he was. So, like I said, not leaving me alone. He's meeting me where I'm at, and as like I told you, I've been reading the Bible consistently. So even though I would come home from work, I would still be drunk, but I would read my Bible.
Okay, so I wanted to say this really fast. I'm not saying that we should go out here and get drunk and read our Bibles. That's not what I'm saying at all. But what I am saying is that this is a message for somebody that may be struggling with these ideologies right here. God would not want me because I struggle with alcoholism. God would not want me because I struggle with sexual sin. And no, you're just struggling with shame and rejection and possibly church hurt for somebody that may have said that to you. But they're not God, and God is not like man. God has sent you a savior, Jesus Christ. That's what his name means. Savior. He provides salvation. He provides truth. He provides transformation. He provides an encounter that will change your life. So I just wanted to say that he wants a better life for you just as much as, probably even more than what you do. And so what he's asking for you is to be willing to get into alignment with him so we can have a better life together.
I was really invested into the Bible. I didn't even have a physical Bible yet. I just had the Bible that was on my phone. And so I would just sit in the car and just allow the car to be my prayer closet. I'm staying at my cousin's house. So I was just like, I'm going to just stay in the car right now. And this is going to be where I'm locking in. And with me reading the Bible started to change my heart. So now I'm at work and I'm not finessing on my hookah bills, but I stopped doing that around this time. Like, I started having some integrity when I was working. And so God was allowing my money to flourish in the club now that I'm having a change of heart. I'm like randomly ministering to people to where we was having like a whole session like of therapy in the club, but God was pushing me to do that. I did not have my own agenda, and so that was something that was beautifully starting while I was working at the club. So even though, remember I told y'all, he said he wanted me to leave the club, and so but I'm starting to forget now that things are starting to go well and money's starting to flourish. Okay, but so, yeah, but to move on though, remember I told y'all it's Lent season, but this one particular night, it's still early on in March, and I fell into temptation. And God was telling me that this situation I'm not going to enjoy it. And I was just like, okay. So I was in agreement with God, right? But my flesh was so weak. So I went for it, and it was not good. And after that, like, I felt conviction and I cried so hard, but God started to minister to me, and that was really the first time ever of my sexual history where I felt bad for having sex and doing that after God said not to do it. And so ever since that day, I haven't had sex.
I haven't had no sex.
It's been a year and some change for me now. So to move on, I was starting to change in front of my friends, like right before my friends' eyes and my cousins. So my cousin and I, we had to talk about like my journey. She was talking about her struggling with belief and trying to figure out what to believe, and saying she's gonna look into some stuff, and she was asking my opinion on Jesus. And we were just talking about like, how we were raised to believe, but like, what was it really like? So I did have a few valid points to where I was just like, I don't know. I don't want to answer something really that I don't have the answers to. But, we got to pray. And so I wanted to share this. So after me and my cousin, we had that conversation, later on that night, the Lord gave me a dream. And so within that dream, the Lord was showing me what was happening to me while I was unconscious. And remember in the last video, this is part 2 that I'm talking about. In the last video, I talked about when I was unconscious, I had an encounter with God, and God was showing me what I was bound by generationally through my father. And so keep that with you. But within that video, I also talked about how I felt something come out my chest, but I wasn't able to see it because I went unconscious. So the Lord just filled me in this dream, right? So what he said to me was, when I called out on his son's name, immediately his Holy Spirit came out of my chest. And he showed me light and he showed me darkness. And he showed me how the lights overpowered the darkness. And he told me that the darkness represented the spirit of death, because me and ex-boyfriend, me as work babe, we were both supposed to die. But he said, since I called on his son's name, which is the extension of me, you guys were saved. Yeah, I say all I say is, yeah, Jesus is definitely real. Oh, it's so much that I can go all day. All right, so now we're moving on, and we're in the middle of March. So college friend, y'all remember college friend from February? College friend decides to come back, and so we hung out a few times, but this one particular time, we had went to jam session that be happening in Atlanta, and so jam session was fine. Like we had a good time, some smooth vibes going on in there, but yeah, so we took pictures and stuff like that. We went back to where he was staying. We did smoke. We came back inside the place that he was staying at, and when I tell you, the presence just shifted. Like everything just shifted. It just felt dark. And so I'm asking him, like I'm looking at his face, like his face even changes. Like he's not looking demonic or nothing, but he just don't look like himself. Like we know each other for years. So I'm just like, I'm looking concerned. I'm like, you good? He like, yeah. I'm like, I'm fine. But he said it like real dry. So I'm like, if you don't tell me, God is going to tell me. And so he started talking a little bit, but still kind of shut down. And so that silence was irritating me. So the first thing I thought to do was, I was about to hit him, but God was like, no. Like he was on him, because like that, like God was like, this is my child type thing. Like that's how God was acting about it, because he is God's child, you know? Yeah. So I went with my second instinct was to, you know, just go try to kiss him and stuff like that. So like now we kissing, but now it's getting a little bit intense. Our clothes are still on, but we almost ended up having sex, and God and the devil was talking to me at the same time. But what God was saying is like, don't do this. The devil is like, it's just getting good. And God was saying he needs to heal. That's what's going on with him. And I'm like, okay. So I'm hearing you. But like, I'm also hearing what my body or my flesh wants to do as well. I'm like, the devil is really like agging it on. And so God was like, you need to heal too. He clocked me. So I'm like, okay, but I said, but God, like, it's getting good. Like, and you told me X, Y, and Z. God kept cutting me off. He said, surrender to me. Choose me. I'm like, I was freaking out, and I was getting upset. Cause everything was passionately intense at the moment. Like our clothes stayed on. We didn't end up having sex. I surrendered to God and college friends' arms. And when I tell y'all would have thought that I was happy after all that happened. Like, y'all would have thought that I felt victorious because I did not have sex. Y'all, I got so... I wouldn't say depressed, but like I did get a little depressed after the fact. And so, yeah, I got depressed after the fact, because that was like the first time that I really denied my flesh like that. And I really was trying to see what God was talking about. But I was frustrated because I just never done anything like that before in the heat of the moment. So after that, I went back to working after he went back to where he went to. Like, I got really, really drunk. And I drove 8 hours and a half to go to Virginia because, like I told y'all, I was just out of it. Like, I was really out of it. But nah, I went back home drunk, and God, like I told y'all, God kept showing up for me even though I kept falling short. And what he was showing me as I was driving, even though I was drunk, he had the car surrounded. Like, I can't explain it, but there was things going around in the car, on the outside of my car. Like, there was no police on the road. There was no cars that were coming near me. Like, I was good. Like, God was showing me and letting me know that I was covered by him. And so I felt thankful, and me and God, we just started having conversations about promises. He's making me promises, and now I'm making promises back. So like, it was a good thing. So at the end of March though, I came back to Atlanta feeling so much better. I felt different. I surrendered to God. I knew that I was God's child for real. So we're moving into April. So my coworker that I was working with, she was telling me that she wanted to go on a no hard liquor fast, so we can have wine or whatever, but no hard liquor. So I'm like, bet. So we on it. And so this is like the month where I really start locking in with God after all the things that happened before April. I'm going to different coffee shops. I'm going to different parks. I'm journaling. I'm reading scripture. I'm learning. Like, I'm really building a relationship with God like never have before. I was just really in joy. I finally learned what joy was. I finally learned what peace is. And it says that in the Bible, Jesus was talking about, I'm leaving you with the gift of peace of heart and mind. And I definitely had that. So I was excited. I was feeling blessed. And I never felt alone. Like, loneliness left me. Loneliness left me because I knew I wasn't alone. So even when I would be around my friends, it's like I would be spending time with God. Like, me and God is, like I told y'all, God be having me feeling like, who needs a blunt when you got God? Like, who needs to get high when you got God? God is our Heavenly Father. He is above, from above. Jesus, he sent Jesus, and Jesus from above. And so, people be like having that saying where I got to bring myself back down to earth. No, bring yourself up to heaven. Think of heavenly thoughts. Yeah, that's the type of timing that I was on. Like, my friends were like, you so quiet. I'm like, no, I'm talking to God. I'm talking to God. And so it was really good. But as I stopped drinking, I was starting to realize while I was working in the club, God was highlighting to me like the music that we were coming into agreement with within our soul. And so he was telling me that there's life and death in the power of the tongue. And so we had to be wise with our tongue, because we could be saying, I'm looking for the hoes, excuse my language. And I would say I'm looking for the man of God in the club. Like, I wouldn't be coming into agreement with looking for hoes, because God was like, you receiving that because that's what you're saying. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I started watching the music that I was listening to, because I used to listen to like a lot of sexual and sensual music. Like, I was listening to Janae Aiko, Jamie Foxx, The Dream, Chris Brown too. Some things with Chris Brown I can't listen to no more, because God was saying, guard your ear gates and guard your eye gates. And it was hard to guard my eye gates because I'm at work. You know where I work at. So anywho, moving on. I go to a night party. I was supporting one of my friends. She had an event at a particular lounge or whatever. And so I'm like, okay, cool. It was a nice vibe. It was cute. Everybody we was doing the line dances and whatnot. We had the champagne going. They had bottles too, but remember, I'm not doing any hard liquor for April. So I was just like, okay, well, I'm gonna just drink the wine. But y'all, I got drunk. Like, I was having the time of my life. And I stayed there a little too long. So y'all, when I left, I went to my car. My car had a boot on it, but I immediately felt convicted. But I wasn't mad. But what I realized is the reason why I'm not drinking hard liquor is because I'm not supposed to be getting drunk. So I hear you, God. Like, I gotta pay this due now. I'm gonna pay for this boot to come off. And so I gave them the money for the boot. I went back home. And when I got back home, like, I didn't even get out the car. Like, I was just really, since I was lit, I was aroused, right? I was aroused. And so I was just like, you know what? I'm going to watch Korn. And so I watched Korn, y'all. And I did the M word. And because I was just like, oh, I'm not having sex, so this shouldn't be, too bad. Like, this will take the place of sex until I can have sex again when I'm married. But y'all, why after I did the M word, right? I felt so disgusted and I felt convicted at the same time. God never condemned me. He didn't make me feel bad. I just felt bad because I had the realization that my body was not my own. So I'm like, dang, it's crazy. So I'm balling. And I gave that up to God. Like, ever since that day, I never masturbated. Never. And at first it was kind of hard to do, but like, as time progressed and me being able to learn self-control and realizing that I'm not doing this thing called life alone. Yeah, I had my Heavenly Father to help me through it. And so I was doing a lot of repenting and renouncing. Yeah, but after that day changed my life. Like lust, I no longer desired lust. It took me to watch that corn one more time for me not to desire lust anymore. Because literally I see corn in real time at work at the strip club. Like that was another thing too. But it's deeper. It's deeper than just the corn. Like the spiritual like the demonic influences behind this stuff, like is another reason why I don't watch that. And also it's spiritual. Everything is spiritual. Like I said, look to God, and so he can reveal certain things to you. He will show you mighty things for sure. But like that day really changed my life. I no longer desired lust, no longer desired to walk around with making lustful eyes at people. Y'all know what the eye do. Eyes at work, what I started doing, like when the men would talk to me, I was telling them, I was like, don't look at me like that. I would always tell men that, I'm like, don't look at me like that. And so then I'll transfer the conversation to us having a whole therapy session as well. So now they getting ministered to. They not getting that club talk from me, not at all. So that was one of the things that really changed about me. Like I was really starting to feel more and more like God's child. I felt like I had an owner. I didn't feel like I'm out here by myself anymore. So now we at the last few days of April. I'm starting to do more creative stuff. I'm starting to record music now. Like I was feeling more and more like myself. God was bringing me back to what I used to do. And that's what makes me feel joy. Those things that you used to do, go back to them. If y'all missing out on joy, find joy in God, and God will bring the things that the devil has stole, and he will restore that. Okay, so at the end of April, I'm at work, right? I'm always at work every weekend. I was having a good time. Like I actually started to love being at my job. Like I told you, God was making my money flourish, learning like good money management and stewardship. There was one particular night I was at work and I was just waiting for work to get busy, right? So God was saying, you need to leave here. And he said, this is the last time I'm going to tell you that you need to leave from here. And I was just like, oh, I know what to do. I know what to do. I'm going to give me, and I was about to say I was going to give me another job, like look for another place. And so he cut me off right there. And God said, you got rid of your toxic relationship habits. But now you need to get rid of your toxic job habits. And he said, you said that you wanted a firm foundation. And you can only find that through me. So if you want a firm foundation, you need to leave this job. So he said that. And so I'm like, you're right. I do want a firm foundation. You are the firm foundation I'm looking for. So then I started to prepare my mind to leave. But I felt like I was about to leave Atlanta. That's what it was coming to in my mind. And so May came around, and May is my birthday month. But this is my first birthday where I'm not even focusing about myself. Like I wanted to celebrate God for my birthday. So I decided to do a fast and just spend that time with God. I wanted to get even closer to God, especially after what he just told me about I need to leave this job. Like I'm really fitting to leave. And so I'm on this fast. This is my first real fast. And I'm not doing any liquor, no weed, no nothing. Like this is the first time like I'm doing both, like cold turkey. I think I did at least smoke hookah, but I didn't do any liquor, and I did not do weed. Or I'm sorry, smoke weed. So that was different for me, but it was cool. Like I didn't eat. My fast started, it was from 9 to 9, because I would wake up at 9. So I wanted to do from 9 to 9. And okay, so on my birthday weekend, I actually worked Friday and Saturday. And so the Friday night, like Friday was so busy. I had so much fun. My friend, she brought her friends. So the section was full. Every section was full. Like it was so busy. One of the best weekends that I ever had financially there. So yeah, I had to keep going back to the back to get ones. And there was this man in there in the office that was talking to my manager. So it's two men. The manager is a man, and there's a guy in there. I don't know if he was a client of the managers or whatnot. But when this man started talking to me, I started to consider what God was saying to me about me needing to leave. So I had this birthday pin on my chest, right? And the man was like, "You gonna give me a birthday dance?" And I was like, "Absolutely not." And I was like, "Yeah, it's my birthday. So if anything, you can just give me some money and I'll just keep it at that." And then he had said something on the lines of talking about God, like, but it was like blasphemous. And y'all know I don't play about my God at this point. So I didn't find that funny, nor did I find the question of asking me, do I want to give him a birthday dance? That really pissed me off. And so I corrected him respectfully. And then my manager was telling him, like, "Oh, this is Tay. Tay doesn't play. She's on a new journey." And I was like, "Yeah, so with me being on a new journey, how would you feel if, I leave?" And the manager looked back at me, and this is the answer that I needed to hear. "If you leave, I know that you're going to come back." And so I was like, okay. And so the next day I came in for my birthday shift and I worked behind the bar. Still another good shift. It was very, very busy. And I made some good money. And that was my last shift. Like, did my little last walkthrough. I didn't tell them that this was my last day, but I was just saying it's gonna be my last day for a while. And so I was like, "I'll see y'all in 2 weeks." But y'all, I never came back. So like after I left there, I left Atlanta, and me and God been on the run ever since. And so I'm just really like now like I still haven't worked since May 12th. Like, I've done like little side gigs and stuff like that. But what God's reminding me is stop falling into your trauma and rely on me. Okay, and when I tell y'all, like, God has really been taking care of me. He's taking care of me, and I'm trusting through whatever he's having me do, even something like this, whatever he's having me to do, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it with him in mind, because he said that he will restore. He said that he's going to show me this firm foundation. He has gave me that. I see the firm foundation. I see everything that he was stripping away, and I see everything that he's bringing back. And, take a risk on God. Most people wouldn't leave their job for God. Like, that sounded crazy to my parents. And it sounded crazy to some of my friends. Who's like, you need money to survive, right? But no, you need God first. You need God to survive. God is not just a decoration. He's not an embellishment on your life that you just throw at the end like a period. Like, nah. He is the period, point, no blanks. God.
Oh, where's the justice?